المراقبة والمحاسبة ضرورة، ومن هذا المنطلق أراد منظمو المؤتمر الاستماع إلى وجهة نظر المجتمع المدني والجمعيات الأهلية مع الأستاذ سامي عطلة المدير التنفيذي للمركز اللبناني للدراسات.
Thank you. هحكي بالانجليزي. بحضر بالعربي بس جربت نغير شوي. Unlocking opportunities. The fact that we have such an accurate title presupposes, in my opinion, three things. One, that the opportunities are there, and there are. The fact that we need to unlock them, that means we have challenges ahead of us. And I would probably go as far as say, we also need to sustain these opportunities. Otherwise, we will face the huge risks that this sector evolves. Now, no doubt, oil and gas can do wonders for us. It can definitely improve our infrastructure. It can reduce poverty. It can, in fact, achieve regional development that we haven't had in ages. And it can definitely increase economic growth. In reality, though, countries that have or have had oil generally tend to, in fact, have lower economic growth, increase in poverty, they become even more corrupt, and some even more authoritarian. And this is precisely the risk that we want to avoid here in Lebanon. But that's not the fate of all countries in the world. In fact, Norway, for that matter, our ambassador was with us, they have doubled their GDP per capita between 1980 and 2010. How many of us know that Saudi Arabia's GDP per capita declined by half during the same period? Nigeria's GDP per capita remained almost the same over 30 years period. So here the question is, what makes Norway special and what makes us so much different from Norway? Now, it's not because they are Europeans or they're white and blue eyes and they're Scandinavians and all these wonderful cultural explanations that we often give. In fact, countries like Botswana in Africa have managed to its diamonds very well. Now, the key prerequisites for this, and that's based on international studies and research of many countries in the world, the major prerequisite is the quality of the institutions that are endowed in that country and their ability to hold the government accountable and ensure checks and balances. Something, unfortunately, in Lebanon, not our strong points. Our institutions have rarely, and I'm talking historically, held each other accountable. Our governments, in fact, oscillate between conflict and paralysis, which is often the case, and when they resolve matters, it becomes a collusion between and among the political parties, largely at the expense of the citizens. So we end up not benefiting from many of the policies that have been imposed or adopted. Yes, we are worried that the oil and gas sector will face a similar fate. Let's not kid ourselves. The odds are against us. Our institutions are not strong enough yet. Now, however, the government has established the Lebanese Petroleum Administration, which is around probably 2 years old. And in fact, to the surprise of many of us, and despite our concern that there's 6 members from different sectarian groups and what have you, we're willing to live with that, and that's the reality that we have to face. But surprisingly, the L.P.A. has run with the sector really in a very impressive way, I should say. And let me be very honest and frank. They've been way more transparent than any other government agency. In fact, when we as the Lebanese Center for Policy Studies decided to work on this sector because of its importance, we've approached them and they, they said, yes, we would work with you. And that's something we need to give them credit for, and I think I salute them for that effort. Because really without them, we wouldn't have had the roundtable discussions, the policy papers discussions, and the workshops. We probably had 4 or 5 in the last year and a half or so. And I think this is unheard of in Lebanon, where you have a government agency, in fact, partnering with a think tank, and they're having discussions and dialogue with civil society, with experts. And to me, really, this is really impressive. Now, yes, they could have done this better, they could have improved this, they could have changed that, yes, of course. In an ideal world, yes. But after their work, and their impressive work in putting things on track more transparently than other agencies, and more timely than other agencies, all these decrees that were supposed to launch licensing grants moves into the Council of Ministers, and this is where the opaqueness starts. We have no idea as civil society, as think tanks, what's going on, and we ought to know. In fact, there is very little trust of the Council of Ministers and the Parliament even by Lebanese citizens. This is not an opinion, this is a survey. Do you know how many people trust the Parliament and the government? 3 to 5%. There's a major disconnect from what the people want and what they feel and the political elite. So when we have such a huge sector with major decrees stumble into the corridors of the Council of Ministers, and we have yet to see the outcome of that, we get concerned. The L.P.A. hits the same institutional constraints that we've been worried about and concerned about. And this is the question becomes, can we get out of this institutional trap, I call it? And I think we can. And I think the fact that the L.P.A. has shown this very positive perspective in handling the oil and gas. Yes, we want them to do more, but I'll tell you what we need. I think what we need to do is give them more autonomy. They have to control their budget. They cannot be under the control of the minister. I'm very sorry to say that. And they need to be held accountable. That's the way we want to do it. And we want them to be depoliticized as much as possible. If they are going to be responding to the needs of politicians, that's really worrying us. But also, not only we need to the burden doesn't fall on the L.P.A., frankly. The burden is on all government institutions and on us at large, even civil society. And I think what we need to do is broaden the consultation process. Now, if the government thinks that the L.P.A.'s decrease is not good enough, it could be, and they wanted to create another committee to review the work of the L.P.A., which to me, frankly, is very surprising given the L.P.A. is already an advisory board of sort, then why are they duplicating the work of the L.P.A.? Now, if they think, no, well, L.P.A. could do something better, well, let's open the discussion, let's open the consultation, and not just keep it in the hands of the Council of Ministers, because frankly, this is when the collusion takes place. And frankly, Lebanese citizens are fed up with this collusion because it comes at the expense of the benefits and welfare of citizens. So when we hear this frustration, it comes from the policies generally that have been implemented in this country, have not largely benefited the citizens, in fact, have benefited the political elite. So here, as I call for more independence and more autonomy and more accountability over the L.P.A., but also more consultation and more oversight over the whole sector across the different value chain. That means not only the licensing round, because the licensing round is one of many steps. And we're going to find out that in fact, it's beyond the issues, beyond corruption. Yes, EITI is good, but I've argued just earlier this week, it's not sufficient because our politicians who are driven by electoral patronage competition, they use this money and then just to buy political support and loyalty. So the question here, the challenge is for all of us to improve and call for the importance and the strengthening of institutions across the many stages of the value chain to ensure that citizens' welfare are actually met. And this we really will have unlocked the opportunities in a very sustainable manner. Thank you so much.